everybody. We're back with another episode of North 100 Canadian Highlander podcast. We'll get there. A reminder that this podcast is brought to you by your support over the Patreon at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Who are we? I got a Jer. I got a Serge. I have an Alex, and I have our brand new North 100 host, a certain Benjamin Wheeler.
Stranger danger.
Hello.
Who is starting off his first North 100 with a bold fashion choice. You want to describe that shirt for the people listening in podcast form, Alex?
They can probably hear it anyways. It's just it's like floral explosion.
Floral is a
that a
broad
bird
use
of
of the
paradise?
word floral.
I thought this would be appropriate to set the tone for what I can bring.
We have a snow theme. This is Canadian. Our entrance has a blizzard going on.
Is it making pink mana?
I guess that's the closest thing to red, white, and blue kind
Okay.
of put together.
Ooh.
All right. I don't want to give Ben too hard a time. So who is Ben? Why is Ben? Let's start off with a little bit of I don't like the word resume of Highlander information. Ben,
CV.
The CV, sure, the curriculum vitae of Highlander for our dude Ben here. Ben has been playing Highlander since 2005. Before the format was even what we sort of recognized it back in the days just of
Before magic cards existed.
back in the days of Vintage Lander.
Where Flametongue Kavu ruled the land.
Yeah, like 90% of the creatures that saw play had creature type Kavu. So it's a bit different from what we're
Or
dealing with
Baloth.
now.
FTK's still good though.
Yeah.
Still good.
Yeah, it was a dark day back there. There was no council, there was no points, there was just madness.
5 Moxes and a Lotus in every deck.
Well,
Well, no.
no gold border.
At the time, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is a weird time. So that's 13 years, Ben?
About that, if my math is right.
Yeah, 2018 minus 2005
Math
is 13.
checks out.
Yeah. What has kept you around for so long? Why are you still playing this format after all this time?
Well, I don't know if it's entirely fair to say like I was super ingrained in the format.
Okay.
That in 2005, I mean, I was still a wee lad. But
When he was just a
you know,
boy.
if you jump ahead a couple of years to like 2008 or so, it was basically after taking a break from the game, I could still play what I was playing in 2004, 2005 at that time. I could still cast Werebear, which
Oh yeah.
pretty
I miss
big
Werebear.
pull.
Yeah. All right, other things about Ben. Long-time council human. Are you currently on the council? I should know this, but I don't.
Yes.
Okay.
The general rule of thumb is if the council exists, myself and Jer are probably on it in some way, shape, or form.
Cool. I have a long list of Highlander archetypes that you have taken credit for, and if you think Ben stole your idea, let us know down in the comments. But so apparently Ben has invented the Highlander versions of Hoof, Eggs, Jeskai Midrange as we know it, Flying Men, Paradox Academy combo.
I gotta give at least 50% of Flying Men to Chris.
Yeah, it's kind of like on opposite ends of the globe, two people were kind of designing the same thing, and then it came together in one beautiful, harmonious creation of a deck. Chris's build tends to have a more reasonable number of lands involved.
Well, and he often splashes red for Blood Moon as well.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. Ben is also the maintainer of the tapped out Canadian Highlander database, which is a very, very, very important resource, and thank you for that.
You want to see some good lists?
Yeah. We get a lot of questions on social media about, hey, do you have a list for X? You know, do you have a good Jeskai mid-range list? And more often than not, I'm just saying, hey, check out this account. If you have tapped out and you're not following this account and you want to know like ways to brew new Highlander stuff, definitely make sure you're following that. And the last thing I have on your CV just says combo degenerate.
Yeah, that's probably an appropriate 2-word summary. I really like boiling decks down to the nitty-gritty. And
Just the sludge at the bottom of the petri dish.
well, I mean, there's nothing nittier or grittier than Black Lotus and Candelabra of Tawnos, the finer things in life.
Mishra's Workshop.
For whatever
Mishra's
reason,
Workshop.
I was picturing Turkish coffee and the sludge at the bottom of the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good sludge.
Yeah. Like it's the condensed coffee and sugar after you've pulled all the water out of it.
Yeah. I was going to say some viewers of the last year-end tournament might also know me as the guy that had Mishra's Workshop turn 1 all 3 games and still lost. So
Powerful magic.
yeah, it's not bad.
Also, that looks like a ponder on your forearm, so that's maybe a credential in its own right.
I've put a lot of magic cards on my body in ink.
Well, you didn't, somebody else did.
Yeah, if I had done it, you probably wouldn't be able to tell it was a ponder.
The most questionable of which is surely Torian Muller.
You
Yeah.
have a Torian molar?
No, I
He
have-
does.
Oh, yeah.
I
I
have-
see it. Yeah, no, it's a Torian Muller, and it's fighting a Manaconda.
Well,
No, it's fighting Chasm
Chasm
Stalker.
Oh, okay.
Stalker.
Chasm.
I was hoping to get the tattoo thing maybe on
Barbecued.
my second episode, not
welcome.
Sorry,
sub
bro.
10 minutes.
That's fine.
But it's fine. It's
So there you go. Whoo, Ben. And a little bit delayed, but let us go into our opening segment, the best card you're not playing. And up to date, we have Ben. Ben, set the tone. Is it Ben, whatever that spirit is?
Ben Aki Hermit.
Yeah, is that the best card you're not playing? The legendary Goblin Shaman 1/1 for 4?
It's like the best card that you should not be playing.
Is that
It's-
true?
Well, it's quite terrible.
It's like top 500 cards you shouldn't be playing.
It's in the top 16,000 for sure.
4 mana's fine for a 1/1, right?
Yeah, it's especially a legend with no ETB. Oh, love it. No, my
Some Aki thought of Ben as a commie of trickery in disguise.
appropriate.
All right.
No, my best card that you're probably not playing is War Leader's Helix. This is kind of being a pet card. It started out as a pet card of mine, and then it started to evolve into, oh wait, this is actually good.
What does it do?
It's a 4 mana instant,
Yeah.
so 2 red and a white. It deals 4 damage to target creature or player, and you gain 4 life.
Now reads any target.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to you giving us the DL on this, because this is just Lightning Helix for 2 generic more
Yes.
and 1 point each of damage and life more.
Yes. So Lightning Helix, for those that don't know, is 1 in a red, or a red and a white for an instant, deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life.
It's Lightning Bolt and Healing Salve stapled together.
Right.
It makes Healing Salve not bad.
Match made in heaven. This card is very good.
Yes.
It is, if you have red and you have white, you have Lightning Helix.
Correct.
3 is also a number that a lot of players have in mind when they're choosing what kind of creatures they want or what kind of threats they want in their deck. And with 4 being that, okay, this creature is safe from...
It's out of bolt range.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
War Leader's Helix solves that, and the extra mana isn't too much of an issue if you throw this into, let's say, a Jeskai control deck,
Yes.
where...
It being an instant is a really big deal, because leaving up 4 mana isn't always what you want to be doing in a proactive deck, but if you're a reactive deck like Jeskai Control, you're leaving up 4 mana every turn. So the ability to just let like a Brimaz resolve, for example, and then just War Leader's Helix and saving your counterspell is huge.
It's just like, is he representing Cryptic or Helix?
It's also
not
an
both?
8-point life swing when you go to the dome,
When you're racing, yeah.
which I love to throw my burn to the face when I'm playing control decks to close out the game with flash threats.
What did you used to call your burn heavy version of Rugdelver?
21 to the dome. It's
What's the extra point for?
there was a forked bolt that got in last minute and it ended up making an odd number. But yeah, I cannot understate how valuable it is to be able to close out your games as a control deck without including cards that seem suspect. Now this seems a bit suspect, but once you get your hands on it, you start realizing that how strong this can be and how swingy it can be.
I mean, I suppose if you compare this to Char, it's pretty amazing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, it's Char, except instead of
Taking
Kill
you
two
can't
guys.
for.
Well,
you
exactly.
gain
It's
four.
+6 in the life swing category. Another thing that Ben hasn't mentioned yet that I think is a really big deal is just once again, how people think in terms of 3 and in regards to their life total. If you're attacking, people will often use up their last removal spell to avoid going to 3 for fear of burn spells. But they'll often go to 4 because they think 4 is safe.
It'll take them 2 cards
There's
or
this
something,
subconscious thing that 4 is safe. And I can't remember how many games I've been able to close out with a War Leader's Helix. Even in the most recent Card Kingdom tournament we were at, I won 2 games because my opponent showed me later they could have killed a creature that put them to 4, and then I War Leader's Helix them out when they weren't expecting a 4-point burn spell.
Rip.
The last thing I want to cover is for War Leader's Helix is the ability for blue mid-range and like blue control decks to pivot. So that point in the game where they say, oh, I have to be a tempo deck right now.
I'm stabilized or whatever.
Right, like where your opponent is trying to play this game, this really long game, and you want to capitalize on them maybe taking slower cards off their cantrips, or their mulligan wasn't ready to get Mantis Ridered out of the game, whatever it may be. This card is great at letting them know you mean business. You are looking to change everything they thought this game was about.
Yeah, just choo-choo.
Yeah,
Let's go.
exactly.
The last thing I want to talk about for the War Leader's Helix is the flavor text. Can you bring it back up? Yeah. There is no time to remedy our enemies' ignorance. Blast it out of them.
And you got the Boros exploding fist.
I like it.
I almost called it an emoji.
The Boros emoji.
Cool. Well, strong start. Good analysis. Powerful magic. I like it. I like it so far, Ben.
No, that was best card you're not playing.
I got my bits wrong. All right. So now I want to move us to a brand new segment that I like to call Story Time, also known as Bad Beats with Ben. What better way to introduce everybody to Ben than to tell some stories of times when Ben crushed us? Or we crushed Ben. You pick. Jerry, you want to start?
Sure. Mine is actually neither. It's the story of the most satisfying draw ever in the Canadian Highlander format.
Oh, yeah.
Of which there are not many. This might be the only one.
The only satisfying
Is this
draw?
better than the time I blind named Palancron off of Cabal Therapy?
Did I
That
tell
was
you the
pretty
time we're
hot.
in the same match I Cabal Therapied Liam 3 times and hit all 3 times? Blind every time.
Well, you're in his head at that point. All right,
Yeah.
keep going.
So Ben and I are playing. It's an early Highlander for Staples, maybe 5 years ago.
About
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe longer. I'm playing like good old Abzan mid-range.
Yeah.
Ben's playing this new upstart deck called Cradle to the Grave or Cradle Hoof.
Really
It's
wish
got
the
like
names-
Black Lotus, Natural Order, Worldly Tutor, Survival of the Fittest. Might have had Birthing Pod, who knows. Probably like at least 28 points.
The points were a mess back then.
Cowboy magic.
So we're battling. I've had a Batter Skull and another Reliquary for maybe 4 turns, so my life total is like in the 60s. But Ben has like a massive board with Deranged Hermit, and he might have a Kessig Wolf run. And then he has a ton of mana. He draws for the turn. He draws and casts Tooth and Nail Entwined.
Ooh.
Gets Hornet Queen and Critterhoof Behemoth, which had just been printed. So I did some scouting and knew that his deck was capable of this.
All right, Hoof just came out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're
And
old.
so he attacks me for like
A bajillion.
a bajillion. And my board's actually pretty good. I have like a Thrun, this Knight of the Reliquary with a Batter Skull on it, some other random creatures. So I line up some blocks, regenerate my Thun, block with my huge Knight of the Reliquary, Reliquary away one of my plains or forests, get Maze of Ith, something else.
Yeah.
And after that attack step, I end up at like maybe like 22 or so. And then the game just like dirtles out because I'm never able to get through his army of creatures. He's never able to get me low enough to beat my Batter Skull. Just like sending things in.
It was one of those games where we both had like 10 to 20 creatures on the board each, 10 different activated abilities available, at instant speed for both of us.
Yep.
Cards that would instant speed tutor up from our library for any utility things. So there were a million things to think about.
Yeah, and in this game going on, we both made so many decisions to end up in this place. It was such a sweet game. It felt like we both played super well.
And you draw and you're like, I'm all right with this. That was a good game.
Yeah, it's satisfactory when you get good Magic, right? And you're just like,
Yeah,
well,
it's just like one of the best matches I've played.
I definitely misunderstood what you meant when you said draw, and I was waiting for a sick top deck story.
Oh, no. No. Like, the result of the match was a draw.
Which normally is bad.
But sometimes is
I
all
hate
right.
draws.
yeah.
I mean, funny that I mentioned Char earlier.
Yeah. You know, classic cards that draw the game. Char and Psyblast. I don't know why I made
With
that a
my
song.
teeth in your neck.
All right, I'm up. And I also want to talk about when Ben invented Hoof. So I've won a couple of Highlander tournaments in my days, not as much as everybody else at the table. But I have never won a Monday night. I have never once won a Monday night.
This one's painful.
And there was a stretch of time when I created a Mardu prison deck. This would have been around when Theros came out, because Mogus was my win con. You guys know about Mogus? This card's sweet.
I'm
Four mana god. For 2, a black and a red. It's indestructible as they are. And on your upkeep, your opponent either sacrifices a creature or takes 2 damage.
Dude, it's just the
Loses
abyss.
2 life.
Yeah.
Loses 2 life, pardon me. It's one-sided sulfuric vortex.
And the abyss.
Debatable.
Yeah, it's so
It's not
good.
actually, but it's...
It's a Punisher card.
If your opponent isn't doing anything for turns and turns and turns, it just eventually wins the game. This is not related to Ben at all, but Nick once had me in Time Vault block, but I had Mogus out, and Mogus killed him before he killed me.
Oh, it does deal 2 damage. My bad.
That's fine.
It's a 7/5 too.
You used to be able to redirect that damage to Planeswalkers. Not anymore.
Oh, so he got worse.
But I digress. By definition, I digress. So I'm playing this sweet prison list. I'm killing people left and right. Goblins was a big deck back in the day. I'm playing all the Pyroclasms. Fair mid-range decks are really popular. I'm playing all the Armageddons.
Like you say, killing people left and right. It's more like you're just trickling sand into their open grave until they stop being alive.
And insulting the earth. Yeah. Prison.
You're killing them with a Post-it note, just like one little paper cut at a time. Jesus. And each time you're like, sorry.
It didn't have to be like this. I'm sorry.
Shh. Only dreams now.
Yeah. And I make it to the finals 3 weeks in a row. And who do I encounter in the finals every single one of those tournaments? But Ben Wheeler. Who is on a tear, and here's a little bit of Highlander history. The deck that we affectionately call Hoof now, Ben tried to name Cradle to the Grave.
It's a great film with Jet Li and DMX, and it's exactly.
Right.
It had a cradle and the grave where the deck would put you. Yeah, exactly.
I forgot that movie existed.
Oh, there's also a magic card. It's a 2-mana instant. Destroy target non-black creature. That came into play this turn.
Yeah, that got cut in very early versions of the deck.
I should hope so.
And we're playing some great games of Magic. I got to do such... this is actually probably one of my favorite turns of Magic I think I've ever done. I can't believe I haven't told this as a powerful Magic story. Mm-hmm. Ben is representing the classic Hoof board state of like 14 creatures, and I'm probably going to die. And I was just like... But no mana dorks. And so what do? But I cast Armageddon and then play Tabernacle.
Rip.
Yeah. How could Hoof possibly beat such sick plays as that? And I think the one that hurt me the most, the one that cut me the deepest, and probably the reason I haven't played Prison since, is I had been locked out of the game with Humility.
Or so you thought.
How does an only creature-based green deck possibly deal with Humility? Reclamation Sage enters play as a 1/1. I don't even think Reclamation Sage was printed at this time. Acidic Slime couldn't kill this. And what does Ben rip off the top? But Primal Command.
Oh.
Spaghetti.
5 mana sorcery, bounces my Humility
To the top of your deck.
to the top of my deck, Then, because of course Hoof has a bajillion mana, finds Hoof, casts Hoof, kills Serge. Yeah, I don't, I've been trying to think of a good deck to bring back, and I want to sleeve up Mardu Prison again, and I think I'm scarred. I don't think I can play that deck anymore after Ben. Alex, tell me a story.
Well, I was going to tell a story, but I think that it was so traumatic that I expunged it from my mind. So I'm going to defer to the inflictor of said story.
Uh-oh.
Ben.
Okay, so this one isn't in a tournament setting, but it feels like one of the greater Magic accomplishments of my life. So I kind of have a running joke with my husband when the day before the tournament on Monday, I ask, what deck should I play? The first response is always 4 Horsemen, to which I reply, no.
Sorry. What is 4 Horsemen for?
Oh, a deck that you're not legally allowed to, play if you're looking to get a certain result.
It's an almost infinite but not deterministic combo deck that is just like, if you want judges to hate you, you bring it, and then you never play Magic again.
Judges won't hate you.
They'll just throw
disqualify
you
you from the tournament.
Yeah, so that's a no-go.
So it is very consistent because it gets you a game loss every time.
Yeah. Super consistent.
And then the second option is usually something called Muscle Wizards.
Oh no! It's all coming back to me.
So what Muscle Wizards is, other than a lifestyle, it's Magic as Garfield intended it, and I mean that sincerely. It is blue creatures, all of them wizards, and then pump spells with no synergy, no anything behind it other than I will make my wizard very big and very strong.
Muscle Wizards.
Including such highlights as the card Muscle Burst, which in a singleton format is a bit lackluster. There was also a caveat in the original creation of this deck to only include old bordered cards.
Okay.
So you're limiting yourself
Was this all Kiefer's idea?
This was all Kiefer's idea.
Okay.
Yes.
Limiting yourself from very good wizards.
The classic card I think of from this deck is Waterfront Bouncer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
he looks like he's already got a muscle burst going on.
Yeah.
How many colors is this deck?
It's 2. Bouncer, I think Bouncer
This isn't
might
even
have...
a wizard. This is a spell shaper.
Yeah, Bouncer...
I feel lied to.
Bouncer wasn't in... I don't believe it was in the deck.
I'm pretty sure it was at one point.
It may have been.
Spell shaper, honorary wizard?
It can spell shape into a wizard.
Okay.
Anyways, we're playing this game. You're looking to... I believe you ask if I want to play some games, and you have Mardu Aristocrats with you. And I say, I only have Muscle Wizards, which is a bad deck in general, but also a deck with a lot of 1 toughness creatures, and you have Goblin Sharpshooter, Orzhov Pontiff,
Goblin
Bombardment. But you know what? Let's have a match. And I end up pinging you down to a low enough life total using some irrelevant wizard from like Nemesis, whose name I can't even remember. And then I soar over your massive board of tokens and put about 3 pump spells on my wizard, claiming the only match that Muscle Wizards has ever won and played, and now the deck is retired as undefeated. We forgot to actually include Muscle Wizards as iconic Highlander decks that I had a hand in creating.
Sorry, I'll go back and update your CV.
Okay, thank you.
Inventor of Flyman Paradox Engine and Muscle Wizards.
I wonder why I forgot that I lost to Muscle Wizards.
I'm surprised that yeah, how can you...
I'm surprised I still have my collection.
It was great. There was like a crowd of people super excited to see very vanilla basic Magic versus one of the most complex decks in the format.
Yeah.
Oh, and Brawn trumped over Brains.
Oh my god, it totally did. That sounds like a card.
Brawn
Like
over Brains?
Well, like a
or
split
Brain?
card, like Brawn Brains.
Okay, this is
Anyway.
a completely different tangent. What do you think the connecting word is on the new Ravnica cards? I think it's or.
Maybe.
Because there's status statue or whatever.
Status or statue.
That's what I'm thinking. And doesn't make sense in this one.
Two works, right? Status to statue.
Does it?
We'll have to see. But we'll also be saving that for our set review
I know.
when there's more spoilers. So
I'm really
look
excited
forward to
about
that.
Yeah, that'll be the next thing.
There's
to do.
some spicy meatballs
Oh yeah,
running down the old spoiler chute.
that was a good hearty meal in those cards.
Just like, oh yeah, nice hiss.
God.
Well, that's about all we had for Ben today. I think unless you guys want to jump anything in, we'll call this one a little bit shorter one as a warm-up one before we get back. Because I do want to talk a little bit about the new schedule that we're going to be doing here. Previously, we were releasing an episode a week. And with Jared going back to school and with our new co-host, we've decided to change the structure a little bit from that. And so rather than a weekly episode, what we're looking to do is guarantee one a month. Like, don't worry about it. It's not we're only going to do one a month. But if there's ever an exciting thing on top of that, so for example, we're going to be doing our double set review. So we're going to be releasing 3 episodes in the next 4 weeks. So it's going to be interesting. So if you look at the YouTube channel and you don't see an episode going up every week, don't panic. We're not gone. We're just going to be changing stuff up a little bit. Yeah. Well, let's head to, I know we just told a lot of stories, in particular like sort of bad beat stories right here, but let's head to our ending segment, Powerful Magic. Oh, the Liam's not here to do the air horn. Oh, I just got really sad for a second.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
And up to date, Ben, tell us another story of magic, preferably not one where you're punishing us, but you can if you'd like.
Yeah, right.
So I'll get something somewhat recent. For whatever reason, I decided that it would, I don't want to say it'd be a good idea, but it would be possible for me to bring Hypergenesis to a tournament.
And win some
And-
matches.
Some matches. The
Benjamin.
deck.
What is hypergenesis?
Oh yeah, tell us about this card.
Alex, I'm glad you asked. Hypergenesis is a spell without a mana cost.
Ah, very
meaning
good.
You can't really cast it unless you suspend it, which the deck never does. Instead, you cascade into this.
Ah, very good.
So you would play.
What does it do?
Well, Hypergenesis says starting with you, each player may put an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card from his or her hand into play. And then you repeat that process until nobody puts in a card. So in order to take advantage of Hypergenesis, there are a couple of things that have to happen. One, you cannot have, spells, basically. You can't have magic cards because you really want to get Hypergenesis cast. And to do that by cascade cards, which there are only around 8 or so.
I was going to say there's like 5, so 8.
Well, I think there's 9 in total.
There's a few more that they
But-
printed, but
You got to shave off a couple of them because,
You don't want to accidentally cascade into a cascade card.
well, if you do that, the cascade
Then it
card gets
cascades.
cast.
Oh, right.
which cascades.
So you can cascade all the way down into
Yeah.
Hypergenesis.
There was a
Okay.
legacy deck built around that called Waterfalls.
Ah.
Yes. Typically, though, you're looking to put into play really big, ridiculous creatures that either have some kind of ability that stops your opponent from playing the game, or that has haste and flying, which kills them and stops your opponent from playing the game.
Can you give an example of the first one? Like, what's a good you have no fun creature that you're trying to cheat into
Well,
play?
I mean, Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, is a powerful magic card.
Yeah.
Blazing
It's
Archon?
quite big. Blazing Archon is another good one.
Elish Norn,
Elish Norn, Void Winnower,
Iona.
Iona.
All right. So there's some
list goes
spicy
on.
some spicy cards. Cool.
So the deck, you enter in a tournament with 2 things in mind. One, dodge every blue opponent. Ideally, you just prey on mid-range decks, some of the aggressive decks, because you are quite quick, but if your opponent has a counterspell, you're goozled. And then number 2, you're looking to cast Hypergenesis or Eureka which is
yeah.
original Hypergenesis, although this one allows you to put in Planeswalkers and actually has a mana cost.
Yeah, Eureka can put in Planeswalkers versus Hypergenesis can't.
Exactly. There are other couple of cards that can cheat creatures into play, but those are the two big ones. That's what you're looking to do every single game, if possible. I fought 4 blue opponents in the last round with this. After round 1, I somehow found myself up in match points. So I was going into round 2, 1-0. And then I fight a very good blue player playing Blue Moon, which my deck has 2 basic lands.
Ow.
How many
So,
colors is this deck?
5.
Oh.
It would probably be 6 if possible, but...
Colorless is a 6th color.
Oh, if we're counting colorless, then 6, for sure. So, I'm against this blue deck. They're representing spells. It's only going to get worse for me as the game goes on. I try to cast a turn 3 Cascade spell into Hypergenesis. Now,
Stormcaller's Boon.
importantly, this Cascade spell is called Stormcaller's Boon.
What? I have never heard of this one.
It's 2 white and a blue for an enchantment. Sacrifice Stormcaller's Boon. Creatures you control gain flying until end of turn. Cascade. So a lot of Cascade cards are absolute dirt. This is one of them. I cast my Stormcaller's Boon. I cascaded. I tried to cast Hypergenesis. It got countered.
Uh-oh.
I kind of felt like this was happening, but I didn't play the deck to not get my stuff countered. Stormcaller's Boon enters the battlefield. It just kind of sits there doing nothing for now. Next turn, I decide that I should try to do something to kill my opponent. So I cast a Bloodbraid Elf, which cascaded into another Cascade spell that did nothing. But Bloodbraid Elf, importantly, is at least a creature. It's a 3/2 haste. I beat down with Bloodbraid Elf. And we're going to the next turn, and importantly, I have 1 basic swamp in play. The deck plays a lot of land cyclers that are also big creatures, but if I need to find things to fix my mana, I can do so. So I have 1 basic swamp in play. My opponent takes their turn with their deck that is mostly based around blue cards and Blood Moon, and after playing blue cards, they play Blood Moon. I have a bunch of non-basic mountains and a swamp now. I untap. I cast Demigod of Revenge.
Are you kidding me? All right, you're going to have to talk about what this card is.
So Demigod of Revenge is 5 hybrid black-red pips for a 5/4 flying haste. When you cast Demigod of Revenge, you return all cards named Demigod of Revenge from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Not super relevant in Singleton, but
Except-
5/4.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
You can occasionally catch people where you cast this, announce the cast trigger. They'll get a little too hasty and counter it, and then the cast trigger will bring it back. This was not one of those times, but still, a 5/4 flying haste crashes in with this Bloodbraid Elf.
Wow, now you got a real clock.
And all the time, my opponent has been playing fetch lands. They've been tapping a Shivan Reef. They've been lowering their life
Oh,
total.
what?
It's a red blue
Shivan Reef.
land. Oh.
Uh-oh.
I feel like I'm going to hear a lot about pronunciation over the
Oh,
next
I just get
couple of weeks.
roasted. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I go back. My opponent is shaken, but determined. They play their land, they pass back. They have a Magus of the Moon in play. That's their Blood Moon effect.
Oh, okay.
They decline to block, but on the next turn, I think they started to get a better idea of what their situation was. So I tap my 5 non-basic mountains and my fresh basic swamp, and I cast Dragonlord Calgon.
Whoa! Get him!
Dragonlord Calgon is a 6-mana, 6/5 legendary dragon with flying haste that gives my other creatures haste and has yet another ability that punishes people for playing multiples. I don't know why this is a recurring theme with all these cards I've been mentioning. And whenever they cast a creature or a planeswalker with the same name as a card in their graveyard, they lose 10 life.
Okay.
But it's a 6/5 flying haste that gives everything else haste. It's great. It gets countered. I turn my elf and my demigod sideways, looking to kill my opponent. Now, they cast Chaos Warp, which is a questionable card in this deck as just a baseline for this.
Sure.
But they have no choice.
So what is Chaos Warp? Again, sorry, we're naming a lot of new and exciting cards today.
It's 2 and a red, instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library and then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent, put it into play. Hypergenesis is possibly the worst deck to cast Chaos Warp against because my average CMC is like 28.
Definitely has a high density of stuff you don't want them to flip from the top of their library.
They have to deal with this demigod or they're done.
Yeah.
So the demigod gets Chaos Warped, and out comes the nasty Terastodon.
No!
Okay.
Terastodon is, I believe, an 8 mana 9/9 that says when it enters the battlefield, you destroy up to 3
like non-creature permanents.
Non-creature permanents. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller gets a 3/3 elephant token.
Yeah.
So I'm able to blow up their lands. I blow up one of my lands as well to get an elephant.
Yeah.
I put them off any kind of sweepers that can deal with my board. And their Magus of the Moon goes under the bus of my Bloodbraid Elf.
So your board is now like a Dragon Lord.
No, it got countered.
The Calgon got countered.
It's a 9/9 and a 3/3 versus 2 3/3s.
Okay, okay.
They untap. They play some cantrips to try and see if they can find anything to deal with this elephant.
Yeah.
They do not. So they're on jump block, try to survive.
Okay.
But I had a Stormcaller's Boon in play, which this is what I truly love. See, it's not, as a combo degenerate, it's not just about trying to repeat the same thing over and over again. It's trying to win with these cards that are just awful. when things don't go right and you got to figure out what to do. So I sacrifice my Stormcaller's Boon. I give all my creatures flying, and these 2 Dumbos just fly over and kill my opponent.
You sent them right back to Shiva.
Oh, they went to the Shadow Realm. So that's my powerful magic.
Wowee.
Holy moly.
Oh, it's pretty savage.
Did I do good, Dads?
You did. I'm so proud of you, son.
Oh,
That's quite the story. There's emotional. I was taken for a ride there. Holy moly.
Wow.
Well, there you go, wonderful viewers at home. I hope you have a good understanding of who Ben now.
Some sort of magic monster.
Yeah.
that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said about me.
I think he'll fit in nicely here. So that's a bunch of fun. So that's our episode today. We've covered who our new 4th is. We've talked about our new schedule. We've got the new episodes to look forward to. So hopefully everybody's looking forward to this fall and winter of Highlander content. Ooh, we gotta get Ben on a Friday Night Paper Fight Highlander episode sometime soon too.
Should we tell people how to hassle this guy on Twitter?
I was gonna say, well, you'll see his social media information down below. But Ben, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter. I believe it's just bwheelermtg, or it's Benjamin Chainwheeler. I forget which one. It'll be on there.
Well, yeah, check out the description of the episode down below for Ben's contact information.
Yeah, you can also typically find me on the Highlander Facebook group.
Yeah.
That's one of the things
Very
I
active
moderate. You can always hit me up, or any of the members really, to get any kind of information on decks and whatnot. And then I'm pretty active on the Discord as well. I think it's just Canadian Highlander, and there's a lot of cool discussions going on there. A lot of weird stuff happening as well.
And then a reminder, there's also a Magic and Highlander discussion in the Loading Ready Run Discord, if you're not in there yet. And maybe we can get you in that one too if you want to chat with more people.
Yeah, yes, please.
Just other fun stuff. All right, everybody, that is our episode. So thank you so much for tuning in. I want to give a reminder that this North 100 is brought to you by you with your support over at the Patreon, over at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Thank you so much. Ben, looking forward to working with you. Everyone, we'll see you soon with the return to Ravnica.